In the name of God, the most merciful, the most benevolent. Praise be to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you. Today we will begin the journey of discovery and understanding on Islamic economics and how it can be seen as an alternative to the current tumultuous flavor of our current economic system. In the coming episodes and months, we will look at how the fundamentals of Islamic economics fit into the modern era. We will look at different ideas as professed by academics and practitioners. I'd like to see how they view Islamic economics. So stay tuned on our channel. To start off, we will first understand what Islamic economics is about. Today, we will look at the principles of Islamic economics and see how the paradigms and thought processes work. So the foundation and principles and the philosophical foundations of Islamic economics is very much dependent on the very lifestyle and very system in which we as Muslims we abide to. So the first principle is the principle of Tawheed, or God's unity and sovereignty. So Islamic worldview is based on Tawheed, or the oneness of God. This particularly denotes the vertical dimension of Islam, linking the imperfect and finite social institutions with a perfect and infinite being. This vertical dimension and equality of the Islamic ethical system manifests itself by the inherent equality of each individual as represented by their paralleling proximity to God. Tawheed, as the essential part of this economic system, provides for freedom of action, whereby each individual is viewed as an integral part of the whole. Now, this principle also applies continuously and sustained system through Risala of God's prophets or the messengers as a source of divine guidance. Akhirah, life after death, the continuity of life beyond death, and a system of accountability. So this is the basis which helps promote Islamic economics. So these principles provide the framework for economic activity to take place within Islamic norms. Secondly, the principles of al-adl wal ihsan, or equilibrium and beneficence of socio-economic justice. Individuals are expected to establish justice or adl and promote beneficence or ihsan, which consequently denote a state of social equilibrium. While this principle implies giving everyone their due, together with Tawheed, it results in attaining high levels of the good life, both individual and a collective. So this principle thus provides for the horizontal dimension of equality of all the virtues of the basic set of social institutions, legal, political, and economic. So in this intra and intergenerational equality, human beings and societies are expected to establish a balance between the needs of the present and future generations, develop policies to fulfill the needs of individuals, enabling them to earn a respectable source of living, developing policies for an equitable distribution of wealth, and provide for growth and stability oriented policies. The third principle of ikhtiyar, or free will. In the Islamic economic systemic understanding, humans are believed to be endowed with free will. Although it is both unrestricted and voluntary, it is guided by broad guidelines in order to interpret and reinterpret that freedom within a specific societal context and to suit the needs of changing times. This constitutes functional norms of economic activity in the Islamic economic system. Fourthly, the principle of fard, which is responsibility. So this principle states that although responsibility is voluntary, individuals and society must recognize their mutual obligations for the public good, which stems from the principle of Tawheed and hence of humanity's vicegerent on earth. In addition, human responsibility towards God, to his, herself, and the others around him in the society implies that these three facets of responsibility only underscores the central ethical principle that the individual, though possessing a distinctive personality of his own, becomes even more distinguished as an integral part of the totality of mankind. In other words, being a conscious part of society implies a functional responsibility toward society. Hence, in economic terms, there is a social aspect and a responsibility of every asset owned or managed by private or public entities. Fifth principle of Rububiyyah. This is an important principle in the Islamic economic system that refers to divine arrangements for nourishment, sustenance, and direction of things going forward towards their perfection. Now, this implies the necessity of sustainable economic growth and development in terms of having harmony between various components of economic and social life. It is expected that within this balanced and sustainable environment as defined by Quranic principles, that human efforts take place. The fifth principle is called Rububiyyah. This is an important principle in the system that refers to the defined arrangements for nourishment and sustainability and perfection, towards perfection. So it is necessary to define and sustain growth, having harmony between various components of economic and social life. It's expected that within this balanced and sustainable environment as defined by Quranic principles, that human efforts take place. The sixth principle of Tazkiyah in Islamic economics axioms or principles is concerned with growth towards perfection, or Tazkiyah in this case, through purification of attitudes and relationships between resources, between people, between components of the economy. This is a natural consequence of Tawheed, of Adl Fard, Rububiyyah in an integrated manner as it directs the individual towards self-development, which leads to economic and social development and harmony, with the growth activity in mind that requires the goal of purification. So in other words, the principle refers to the growing in harmony in every aspect of life. So the result of Tazkiyah is therefore falah, or success, or prosperity in this world and in the hereafter. The seventh principle in Islamic economics is called Khilafah, the human accountability before God. Allah created human beings with the role of being His vicegerent on this earth. By this, his or her role, position and mission is described as istikhlaf, that is fulfilling God's will on earth, promoting what is good, forbidding what is wrong, establish justice, promoting beneficence or ihsan, resulting in attaining higher levels of the good life, both individually and as a collective society. Thus, being a vicegerent on earth defines roles, outlines responsibilities, and provides the reasons for existence for the individual. From this follows the unique Islamic concept of individuals, trusteeships, the moral, political, economic, and the principles of social organization. Thus, the implications of the principle of Khilafah include the notion of universal solidarity, sustainable consumption of resources, which is basically a trust from God on an amana, pursuing a humble lifestyle, and having human freedoms to conduct daily life. Also, it should be noted that along with the idea of human accountability before God or Akhirah, an Islamic economic system is similarly based on two-dimensional utility function, operating in a positive correlation with each other. For instance, the more social good one does in the temporal world, the more glad tidings or sawab one receives in the hereafter. So in summary, the principles of Islamic economics can be summarized as the first one, Tawheed, the oneness of God. Right? He's the top level. And then we have the second principle of Adl wa Ihsan, where you're just in social economic justice, basically. Ikhtiyar, free will, that's the third principle. Fard, or responsibility, your responsibility as an individual. And Rububiyyah, things have been already arranged divinely, and your nourishment as well has been given divinely. The sixth principle, Tazkiyah, goal towards perfection. So what you do in this world is to target perfection, to move towards perfection. And finally, Khilafah or Khalifa, the vicegerency. So as the role of the individual in this world is to manage these resources. So these are the 7 principles which formulates Islamic economics, or the basis for Islamic economics. So with that, wabillahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala.